Don't come after me." Those are the last words anyone on the ground hears from the flight leader of Navy Flight 19. He says it to a pilot who's offered to come find him. Within 3 hours, 5 bombers and 14 men will vanish over the Atlantic, and then the plane sent to rescue them will disappear too. No confirmed wreckage has ever been found. The 5 planes are Grumman TBF Avengers. Each carries a 3-man crew. The flight leader is 28-year-old Lieutenant Charles Taylor. He has over 2,500 flight hours, 61 of them in combat. He's not a rookie. The other pilots include Edward Powers, a 26-year-old Marine captain, with a wife and child at home, and Ensign Joseph Bossy. The remaining crew are a mix of Marines and naval aviators. Some are still teenagers. Most of them fought in World War II, which ended just 3 months earlier. They take off from Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale at 2:10 p.m. The exercise is called Navigation Problem Number 1. Fly 56 miles east to a group of rocks near Bimini. Practice bombing. Fly north over the Bahamas. Turn east. Come home. It's the kind of flight these men could do in their sleep. At 2:10, everything is on schedule. By 3:45, nothing is. At 3:45 p.m., Lieutenant Robert Cox, flying an unrelated training mission out of the same air station, picks up a transmission. It's Taylor. He says both his compasses are out. He believes he's over the Florida Keys, hundreds of miles southwest of where he actually is. Cox advises him to fly north, toward the sun on his left wing. He even offers to fly toward Taylor's position and guide him home. Taylor declines. "Don't come after me," he says. He believes he knows where he is. He doesn't. The formation is somewhere over the northern Bahamas, east of Florida, but Taylor is convinced he's southwest of the peninsula. Every instinct tells him to fly northeast to get home. Northeast, from his actual position, takes them further out to sea. Over the next hour, the radio communications grow more confused. Ground stations try to reach Flight 19. They advise Taylor to fly west, into the sun. If those directions had been heard and followed, investigators later concluded the flight would have returned safely. But the radio channels are crowded. It's unclear how much of the advice gets through. At 4:45, Taylor says the group will fly north to make sure they're not over the Gulf of Mexico. They're not. At 5:15, he says they'll fly west until they hit the beach or run out of gas. For a moment, it sounds like they're turning toward land. At 6:04 p.m., Taylor makes the decision that likely dooms Flight 19. He concludes they didn't go far enough east. He orders the formation to turn around and fly east again, away from Florida, away from the coast lights that are being turned on at every air station and ship up and down the seaboard to guide them home. They are roughly 100 miles east of Daytona Beach when they reverse course into the open Atlantic. This is the moment that haunts the entire story. The coast was right there. By 6 p.m., ground units can no longer reach Flight 19 directly, but they can still hear garbled transmissions between the 5 planes. Fuel is low. The sea below is rough, unfavorable for a water landing. At 7:04 p.m., Ensign Joseph Bossy tries to reach Taylor. No response. That's the last anyone hears from Flight 19, but the story doesn't end there. At 7:27 p.m., 2 Martin PBM-5 Mariners take off from Naval Air Station Banana River, 150 miles north, to search for the missing squadron. One is piloted by Lieutenant Walter Jeffrey. Within 30 minutes, his Mariner drops off radio contact. A ship nearby reports seeing a burst of flames 100 feet tall at 7:50 p.m. No wreckage, no survivors. 13 more men gone. Mariners were known as flying gas tanks for their tendency to catch fire. The most likely explanation is an onboard explosion, but no confirmation has ever been found. 6 aircraft, 27 men, gone in a single afternoon. The Navy launched what the Associated Press called the most extensive search ever undertaken along the Atlantic seaboard. Over 200 planes a day scoured the ocean for 5 days. Sightings of flares, life jackets, rafts, each one a burst of hope, each one a mistake. Nothing was found. The Navy convened an investigation board. The initial report focused heavily on Taylor's disorientation, but Taylor's mother, Catherine, a schoolteacher in Corpus Christi, Texas, was so devastated by the finding that she walked out of her classroom and never returned. She spent the rest of her life fighting to clear her son's name. She argued, with some justification, that the Navy's own search protocols had failed, that the rescue coordination was chaotic, and that Taylor was being made a scapegoat for a system that broke down at every level. The Navy eventually amended the report to list the cause as cause unknown. It was a small concession to a mother who had lost everything. In the absence of answers, the Bermuda Triangle was born: alien abductions, magnetic anomalies, methane eruptions, time travel, Atlantis. Flight 19 appeared in a Steven Spielberg film and a Scooby-Doo episode. The legend grew because the real explanation is unsatisfying. A trained pilot got disoriented, his compasses failed, and he made a fatal navigational error while a rescue system struggled to reach him. The Bermuda Triangle itself is not a thing. Ships and planes disappear in that area at the same rate as any other heavily traveled stretch of ocean. The triangle was invented by a writer named Charles Berlitz in 1974 to sell books. The truth is smaller than the myth, but it's heavier. There's a detail in the record that's easy to miss. At several points during those 3 hours, people on the ground and in other aircraft gave Flight 19 the correct heading. Fly west, into the sun. You'll hit land. It's unclear whether those instructions ever fully reached Taylor. But what is clear is that not one of the 5 pilots in the formation broke away to fly west on their own. They stayed with their flight leader. They followed him east, into the dark, into the open ocean. Training and discipline kept them together. The same qualities that had kept them alive in combat may have killed them over the Atlantic. No one broke formation. 80 years later, no confirmed wreckage of Flight 19 has ever been found. 27 men left the coast of Florida on a December afternoon and flew into a silence that has never been broken.